And I was curious if there was ever a storyline or something in the show that made you uncomfortable, or that you felt like, ooh, are we really going to go that far, or anything like that comes to mind?
Listen, the Benihana Christmas episode where Michael and Andy draw with a Sharpie on one of the Asian women that they've brought back to the Christmas party is jaw-droppingly kind of horrific. And it's a tricky conversation,
Yeah,
it's like they're clueless, and kind of in their cluelessness, they're racist and insensitive, and they're always saying the wrong thing. And that's Michael, Dwight, and Andy, and Kevin for that matter. So it's a show based around clueless, insensitive, racist, sexist people that kind of mirrors the United States in a lot of ways. So you want to encourage it because it's funny as hell, and it also kind of like skewers a particular American sensibility, but it definitely goes pretty far if you dig deep. So, could it happen today? I think it would have to be very, very different if it were made in this environment.
Yeah, and I think you even see that in the reboot, which I've gotten to see a couple episodes of. The second episode of The Office was the Diversity Day episode, which went pretty far. And there's nothing like that I can see so far in the new show. To me, I always felt like as long as the show knows that what these people are saying is wrong, then it's okay. But then you wonder, do the viewers always know that the show knows that?
That's very well said.
Complicated, yeah.
And that's exactly right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think you need to set it up a little bit more like All in the Family, where, you've got someone who has really wrong-headed ideas, and it's showcased in a certain way that make it very clear that this person is off base and clinging to ideas from the past. You just have to do more underlining of that if you were to make The Office in this present environment. I haven't seen the paper yet, so I'm excited to see if they try and push any buttons there.
Yeah. You've also talked about how the show changed after Steve Carell left. I was curious if you ever considered leaving before those 9 seasons ended. Was that ever on the table, or something you thought, maybe I need to get out of here before the end?
Steve and I were in very, very different career situations when he left The Office, and he was going off to star in movies that he was getting paid tens of millions of dollars for. And the movies I had tried had bombed, and I didn't really have a way forward in the film world. So I was absolutely 100% going to stay on The Office as long as I could. And there was an opportunity for Dwight to get to do more too, with Michael gone. And I did get to do more. I didn't immediately run The Office, but there were different colors you saw from Dwight. And those last couple of seasons, we made a few episodes that were pretty mediocre, I would say. I don't know that we made any stinkers, but there were also some really damn funny episodes in the last couple seasons.
Yeah, I mean, one of those episodes that came towards the end is that episode that was called The Farm, which was a backdoor pilot, in a sense, for a potential spinoff years before the paper, that would have starred, you as Dwight, and potentially would have continued playing that character for a long time. I'm sure that there was some disappointment at the time that it didn't go through as a new series, but was there any relief along with that as well, that you weren't, going to continue playing this character? Were you excited to maybe do something else at that point?
Yeah, what we kept talking about was, Frasier and Cheers, and how they were able to make. One could argue that Frasier is a better show than Cheers. And Kelsey Grammer took kind of a minor character on Cheers and made him a really memorable comedic lead that's in the annals of great TV characters, Frasier Crane. And but when I have to say that you're absolutely right. You're very astute. It was like 10 to 20% disappointment and like 80% Giant
wow.
relief.
I thought it was maybe more like 50-50, but that's
No, it was a big relief of like, okay, good. I'm not going to do many more seasons of Dwight. And especially because NBC at that time had a new regime that came in and they wanted to do big, bright, flashy, splashy shows that were multicams and going back to kind of a Friends kind of thing. And they were just not interested at all in Office spinoffs at the time. And had they taken The Farm, they'd probably have another $1 billion in the bank. No one talks about that. But would it have been as good as The Office?
The fans were there and would have been eager for more.
And even right now, all the people that have seen The Office 20 times, they're going to watch The Farm at least once or twice if you've got 100 episodes. And would it have been as good as The Office? No way. Not even close. Would it have been good? Would it have been solid? Would it have been a good, solid comedy? Yeah, it would have. And we would have done some really cool stuff. And I think they really missed out. But the history of The Office and NBC has they never really got the show. I mean, and it was, honestly, it's like 5 years after the show was over when all of a sudden it started being watched in the minutes in the billions on Netflix that NBC kept oh, wait a minute. This is kind of a cash cow. This is actually a really good show. And, it's got some legs.
Yeah, it's funny. You often think about with actors on big shows like this, like how did your life change when the show took off? And for you, it's almost like how did your life change when the show took off again, or even bigger than before? 5 years later, how did you experience that?
Yeah, it was pretty nuts because starting around season 2 and 3 of The Office, the show took off like gangbusters. We won the Emmy. We all got a bunch of different movies. I did The Rocker and My Super Ex-Girlfriend, and a lot of movies got offered to me super, because of The Office and the success of The Office. And I got to host SNL. It was amazing, and multiple Emmy nominations, which I never won. Thank you.
No hard feelings.
Jeremy Piven. Enjoy your Emmy.
Piven, that hurts.
Yeah. And and then people don't remember the last 4 or 5 seasons of The Office. It really dwindled. Our ratings were going down. We didn't win awards anymore. Steve never won an award, and that's crazy. Which is nuts. Alec Baldwin won 9 Golden Globes and Emmys and SAG awards, and Steve was kind of left out in the cold. And and then no one was really watching The Office. We kind of petered out, and there was several years, and we all kind of thought, okay, that's great. It'll be on syndication. People will watch it. We had a great run. And then all of a sudden, about 4 or 5 years after The Office ended, I was getting recognized more than ever. And by 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds and 14-year-olds. And what is going on? It's it's on Netflix. And that's when people just started. And they loved the binge quality. It's very bingeable for some reason. I think some shows are not as much as The Office, but people watching it over and over and over again and getting to the end of episode 200 and starting over from the very beginning and leaving it on, sleeping with it, having it on their phones. And it became a very different thing. And, it's fantastic. What can I say? It's had so many different lives.
Yeah. We just had Beck Bennett from SNL on this podcast recently, and I was talking to him about how I think he said something like, once you're an SNL cast member, you're always an SNL cast member. That's what you're always going to be known for. And it reminded me of The Office too. It's you will always be Dwight from The Office, as Steve predicted, right? It's going to be hard to do anything that overtakes that.
True.
And there's pros and cons to that, right? I mean, how do you think about that in terms of career? Does it open as many doors as it puts you in a box, or is there a balance there, or how do you think about it?
It's tricky. It's a really tricky balance, and I've talked about this a good amount, and I wrestle with a good amount. So many doors open for me because I played Dwight. I can go to Wimbledon, or I get a commercial campaign, or I can do an appearance or a conference at a Comic-Con and do signings and make money. Like, I'm kind of in a lot of ways like set for life because I played Dwight, which is incredible. And it's beyond my wildest dreams from this dorky theater actor here in New York, never making over 17 grand a year, as an actor. It's insane. It's amazing. But the role is so iconic, and his face is one of the most memed. We just did a thing, I think it was on my social media about it, like on Giphy, where you send GIFs. It's like, it's the most gift image.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's in the billions that my face is being sent to text chains, with little me shaking my head or doing karate or doing something silly.
You didn't know when you were filming those scenes that that's where you were going to end up.
That exactly. Or that if you walk into a Target, you're going to see me on tea towels and bath mats.
Do you have a piece of that, or how does that work?
I have a tiny, tiny piece of that. That's what she said. And had I known, I would have negotiated much harder on my merch deal. But it's but at the same time, like, I'm a transformational actor. Like, I'm not. There's some actors, like, let's say Michael Richards, who plays Kramer. Like, that's kind of what he does. That's his shtick. It's like, I nothing against him. He's absolutely brilliant, but he comes at it from a stand-up improv kind of background. And I was doing Shakespeare and Eugene O'Neill. Like, I'm a transformational actor. I can play roles other than Dwight, as evidenced, I hope, in Code 3, that you might see some moments of like, oh, that was kind of Dwight-ish a little bit. But mostly, I was not thinking about Dwight watching that movie, which I think is what you want, right? Yeah, that is what I want. So, I just hope too, especially as I age and look more different than Dwight, that there's a realm of roles that are open to me, just as a character actor, which is what I wanted to do from the get-go, is just play interesting characters and tell interesting stories. So